Welcome back, blade lovers. Got a special video for you today, another collection video. And first of all, a few caveats here. It does not include all the Tantos in my collection and might be missing one that you'd like to see. Can't help that. I've got 10 on the table. I'm calling this video 10 Tantos. You could subtitle it My Favorite Tantos, because for the most part these 10 represent what I personally feel are the ideal in the chisel or faceted point Tanto that we call the American or Americanized Tanto. It was made popular in the early 80s by Lynn Thompson and Cold Steel. I was around back then, collecting knives back then, teaching martial arts back then, and selling many of those knives back then. So I am familiar with the difference between the traditional Japanese Tanto and the Americanized one, which took its point from one or two particular katanas, so-called samurai swords, which were used to penetrate armor and had a more robust point. Now, I cruised the web and I found this. So here are some examples of traditional Tantos. So for those of you saying, hey, you did this video on this knife and did you know it's not a Tanto? Well, they may not have the background to know that these, okay, are Tantos. And hopefully you can zoom in, if you can, on the names. Some of these, such as the Osoraku, were made popular. That's the second one from the top in the picture now. Made popular by James Williams, and a lot of his Satsu style knives for Columbia River came out in that style, along with his own company. So that's that, and I may refer to my crib notes from time to time to even remember the names of some of these knives that I haven't pulled out in quite a while. So we're 2.5 minutes into it. I don't want to delay. I don't want to do a half-hour video here, so you're not going to hear all of the details, and you may not see all of the details on each of these knives, but there are individual reviews on each of these. If I can link them, I will. And as far as sales videos go, I may not be able to link all these knives to sales videos because they may or may not still be available. Okay, all the caveats are out of the way, and now we're going to dive in. So, very first one up here is by Artisan, and it's called the Jungle. That's all it's called, is the Jungle. And it's come out in D2 as well as S35VN. I jumped on this special edition when I saw it come out. I forget where I got it. Might have been White Mountain. By the way, White Mountain will get you 10% off if you use my discount code OLDSWORD. Keep that in mind, especially if you're buying the higher priced stuff. It's going to matter. Carbon fiber on this one, solid carbon fiber through and through, not a laminate. Got holes there ventilating. We've got a Tanto that is a clip point. I would call it a clip point Tanto. So you end up with kind of an arrowhead or a spearhead. And yes, as I said, it's S35VN. It is a liner lock. It's got great drop shut action on it. It's got some blue accent screws and a blue pivot, and a prominent lanyard hole, and a deep carry clip that is transferable to the left side. So a cool knife, and they're not very expensive. I think a little over $100 for this one, if you can still find them. So I brought this one out because of that interesting clip point on the faceted Tanto. All right, going to put that guy back. Maybe what we'll do is leave them open and we'll do a final shot with all the knives open. Jumping around here, here is a very recent one that I acquired that is the Socom Bravo, and you can see that a lot of these have come through with a very soft detent. Got to give it a little energy, but you can shake this guy loose. But I have a drop point version where you can't do that. This one was custom serrated by Tony Marfione himself, the creator and owner of Microtech knives. This was produced in China by Reich Knives, and Reich does some fantastic machining job. You can see all the details on the handle, but I'm going to try to focus on the points today. We have a trough there that you could call a fuller, and a nicely done faceted Tanto point that drops. Beautiful work on the titanium handle. You don't get many titanium handles with Microtech unless they're out of their custom shop. Beautiful carbon fiber on the handle. It's hard for this knife and its drop point brother to be anything other than eye candy, and of course a useful knife. Real thick 5mm stock there, 4-inch blade, well over 9 inches overall, and jimped out, machined out all over the place. That's the Socom Bravo Tanto version. Here's one that's a bit of a beast. This is the Miguron, and I'm going to need to refer to my notes here for the name. Let's see. Back to my phone. Okay, so it's the Miguron Prayer, Preyer, Miguron Prayer. See, those are the names I forget sometimes. It is a massive knife with this double-faceted Tanto blade. I think we can still call it a Tanto. And it's clipped. It's interestingly branded with Miguron knives on top of the blade. It's S35VN. By the way, the Socom Bravo, if you didn't already know, is M390. Nice machining here, real interesting. They give you a thumb opener, but you really got to dig your finger in there because they made it beautifully smooth and polished, which looks nice, but gives you very little traction. So I end up using the flipper tab most of the time. As I said, there is a review on this knife, so if you want to learn more about it, you can check it out. You should be able to look it up under Miguron knives in that collection, or you should be able to just search for it. Miguron Prayer. There's a big Miguron logo that's raised. They've changed this since because it's very sharp on the edges, and I needed to kind of tape this off and with a little diamond file kind of take those edges off because they were almost cutting sharp. That was one flaw, I think, in the knife. Got these longitudinal satin grinds on it, S35VN, and the thing weighs like about 8 or 9 ounces. It's a monster. Frame lock and crazy drop shut. Miguron Prayer. Hey there, blade fans. I had to do a kind of a midstream edit here because when I brought everything into the computer to stick it all together and create the video, it appears as though I lost sound on a few clips. So here's what I'm going to do. We're starting at this point where we have these knives left for review. Going to give it a try again. I did a sound check and we look okay now. But, you know, as the man said, to err is human, but it takes a computer to really screw things up. All right, so I'm moving on to the Togatta, a Bestech knife designed by Morgan Collins. What makes this one very unusual is that Morgan contacted me when he saw some of the Instagram videos that I put up prior to my review on this recently. And he said, where'd you get that knife? And I said, White Mountain Knives. He said, there's no branding on it. And I said, holy smokes, sure enough, there's no billboarding on this. So you don't like billboarding on your knives, folks? Here we go. And who knows, this may be worth more in the long run because of that. But this either missed the laser or was a prototype. We don't know, but we do know that it is M390. It's a beautiful knife. It has swirl G10 green and black for the inset. It's got a beautiful black coat on the grind and on the swedge and inside this teardrop shaped fuller here. Everything else has a beautiful satin grind in two different directions. This might be hand rubbed. Sometimes that's the case with these horizontal satin finishes. Got a vertical satin finish on the front tip. It is a flat grind on both facets. It is a Tanto because we have this secondary point, and it's just extremely nicely done. They don't give you much of a secondary grind there, which is interesting. And I'm checking it again. It really does not appear to be hollow that we have on some of the other knives. Kind of a bronze anode stone-washed titanium handle, and it's a large knife with like about an inch left over and almost a 4-inch blade. Beautiful drop shot action, interesting shape on the clip. That is the Togatta, very popular knife since it's come out, by Morgan Cohen's. Okay, moving on. Shall we grab another Bestech? Sure, why not? Here is the Bestech Predator. I believe it's an in-house design. And again, we've got that interesting change between the grind, the swedge, and the flat, and the front grind, with the flat and the front grind being satin finished, and the bead blast on the rest. Some folks remarked that they didn't like that little bump there, that they felt that it kind of messes with the lines. Not sure that I mind, but maybe you do. It gives a little more thickness out here where they created this upper facet with the swedge there. So we've got that upper facet, we've got the front grind, got the main grind, and we've got this flat all coming together in this interesting convergence, and a beautiful ergonomic handle. Not so much jimping in the jimping department, pretty much rounded over and smooth, but it's there for the effect, I suppose. When you snug your finger up into that first finger groove, it is very ergo friendly and comfortable. And these insets come out. White Mountain was selling 2 other varieties of these that can replace this one, so apparently it's not epoxied in, and you can remove the screw and the pivot on both sides, and notice that slotted pivot. You can take that out and remove these. I have not tried, but those replacement insets are going for about 20 bucks, not bad. Got a red and black carbon fiber one, I believe, as well as a swirl G10 one. So very cool. I was going to say the Togatta, the Predator by Bestech. All right, well, here is the Abyss by Arcane Design. This dropped earlier in 2022. I think it was maybe around May or June that I picked this up, not sure. Riot made knife. Riot is the OEM, and just look at the grind. Hollow meets flat, and a Bowie clip thrown in to boot. It's a complex grind for sure. It's a 3.5-inch blade from M390. Interesting blackened clip. And weight relieved on the inside. This particular one I picked up in a matte gray finish. And he uses these anode pivot surrounds here that are kind of faceted like like a gemstone. Deep fuller, call it a fuller if you want, and very aggressive large cutout jimping, but it's not too sharp. Feels good in the hand, a little smaller than I'd like, but it's just a gorgeously done blade, and not quite drop shot yet, but smooth on bearings, very pneumatic. The Arcane Abyss, check that out again, just gorgeous grinds that Riyadh does. M390, as I said. All right, we're getting down to the last 4, and so let's see what we got left. How about a budget one, since everything else has been kind of high-end up till now? About a $35 to $40 knife. This is a Tangram, and Tangram is a company by the parent company Kizer, and a Kudo 440C steel. It's a Japanese 440 that's very highly regarded in the realm of 440, so I'm told. Look at that outrageous Tanto in this case. Hollow, yes. Flat, yes. Stonewashed, yep. Useful jimping on the frame, and a double thumb stud with an insane action. So, and a flipper. Action's nicely tuned. I mean, you could roll it out or flip it. G10 handles, nice lanyard hole, and very flat and thin. Excellent grip. I have to credit one of my viewers who pointed this out to me and said his favorite Tanto was this one, hands down, and for a budget Tanto I'd have to agree. Just check out the grind lines. They're nicely done at that price point. Okay, we're trying to get them out of the frame here as I do them, and move on to a newer version of the Damn Designs Yokai. And this originally came out for around a $40 mark in D2 with G10 handles. This one now sports titanium and a beautiful stone-washed 14C 28N blade. Deep carry clip. Clip itself is titanium, which is a big deal. Got a nice blank in here to make that smooth for switching the clip to the other side. Remove the blank, put the clip in, and look, no obstructions there. The screws are set below the surface. Nicely done. And Yokai is a name that's been used by at least one other knife that I am aware of. Boker came out with a knife designed by Alessandro de Santos called the Yokai. Also kind of in the budget area. This, I think, is the perfect blend of materials for Damn Designs. I mean, you can get S35VN on some of the models, but 14C is plenty enough for me, provided it's properly heat treated. Great ergos on the handle. They do this stepped sort of contouring on all their handles. All their handles are more or less the same at Damn Designs. even on the fixed blades that they recently came out with. Effective file-like jimping and just a wicked looking faceted Tanto blade. Damn Designs Yokai. Last two. And one of the last, and certainly not the least, the Ultramar Redencion 229 Tanto by Chavez. Very aggressive, large jimping, very similar, and this is another Riot made knife, very similar to what we saw here on the Abyss. And again, you can just look at this grind forever and be amazed at the precision that Riot does on this M390 blade. And of course, here is the ever-present skull clip that Chavez loves to use, and he gives you a spare clip in the box that is plain. So you don't like the skull, you can swap it out. I think that's pretty decent. Obviously adds to the price maybe just a little bit, and these are not cheap knives. 300 plus range for these guys. Large double thumb studs on this one. Thumb studs only, no flipper. And we do not have a switchable clip. It is on the titanium side only. That clip is titanium. But again, let's just get fascinated by what they did here. Look at the satin finish on that. I just love satin finish Tantos. It just brings out the grinds so nicely. Bead blast is nice, stonewash is nice, but you got to say something about the satin finishes. All right, well, I don't want to linger too long because we got one left, and then we got to bring them all out for a finale. Here is the Begleiter from Kizer, designed by Azo, and this is in the Tanto format, S35VN, and it is a titanium clip in all either shred, call it shred carbon fiber. Pretty sure that would be shred and not marbled. Large lanyard slot, and this is a 2.6 ounce knife. It is a feather for a 3.5 inch blade. Probably one of the lightest knives in this size you're going to see, because it's not titanium. It is a hidden frame with carbon fiber on the outside. Beautiful smooth action on bearings, flipper only. Full-size knife at 3.5 inch. Gorgeous. Satin finish and really nicely ground. Hollow meets flat. You can see that. Well, what do you say we bring them all out for the finale and see if yours truly can name them. That's good there. Let's see if we got room over here. Oh, knew that would happen. Some of these are safe queens. We don't want to bang them up. Okay, getting close. All right, see if we can back out enough without, yeah, we can do it. I'm gonna leave them as they are. Socom Bravo Tanto, hand serrated by Tony Marfione himself. The Jungle Tanto by Artisan, the Abyss by Arcane Designs, the Yokai by Damn Designs, the Prayer by Miguron, the Begleiter by Kizer, the 229 Redencion Tanto by Chavez, and the Tangram Rumble, the Predator by Bestech, and the Togatta by Bestech. Hope you enjoyed this review, folks. Don't forget to give it a like. It's been a major effort. We'll be back with you soon.